Yo, what's up, everybody? Friend of mine on Facebook was asking, he's like, how come when you go in a black neighborhood, you rarely see any black businesses? I know, like in Harlem, you see a lot of black businesses. Back in the days, you used to see a lot of black-owned businesses. I remember the shoe store, the shoe store was black-owned. The shoe cobbler, the man that fixed shoes, he was black-owned. The fish market, he was black-owned. The meat market, he was black-owned. The corner store was black-owned. The corner store had black brothers in it. It was like three black brothers. It was black businesses and all. The record shop was black owned. Technology got rid of some of that. And now, like when you see black businesses, it's usually a barber shop, beauty salon, or something to do with food. But when you go in a black neighborhood, everybody got a business in the black neighborhood except black people. The Hispanics got a business in the black neighborhood. The Jews got a business in the black neighborhood. The Asians got a black business they got a business in the black neighborhood. The Mexicans got a business in the black neighborhood. Everybody got a business in the black neighborhood except for black people. And that's by design. And did you know that there was a time when most black neighborhoods were near highways or highway overpasses? Like the polo grounds are near highways. The polo grounds near highways, colonial near highways, quite a few projects. I know when I was in Nashville, Tennessee, those housing projects are right near the highway. But back to what I'm saying, it's about design, it's about social engineering. So like Claude Anderson said, he said a black neighborhood is like a bucket with a bunch of holes in it. Meaning the money comes in the neighborhood and it leaves. They said a black neighborhood every night a black neighborhood go through a Great Depression. Meaning that when all the businesses close, the neighborhood go broke. And there's a direct link between crime and poverty. And that's by design. That's why there's so much crime in black neighborhoods. It's poverty stricken. Because the money comes in the neighborhood and it leaks right out. It don't go from one black hand to another black hand to another black hand. It goes from a black hand to the Mexicans. It goes from a black hand to the Jews. From a black hand to the Arabs. Everybody got interest in a black neighborhood except black people. But like I said, that's by design. That's why there was a time when all the corner stores was black owned. Then it went from being black owned to being Spanish. Then it went from being Spanish to being no, they were Jewish at one time too. A lot of Jews own businesses in black neighborhoods. But now it's all Arabs. They call them ox. The high keys. High key. That means brother in Arabic. But black people, we cut everything short and call everybody ox. Call them ox. But the ox don't buy nothing from black people. I know everybody in the black neighborhood be trying to rap to the little black girls back in the days when crack was at its height. That's what they was doing. But back to what I was saying, that's by design. And there's a direct link between crime and poverty. And that's why black neighborhoods are always poverty stricken. Because the money comes in the black neighborhood and it leaves right out. It don't do that in Chinatown. It don't do that in the Jewish neighborhoods. It don't do that in the Hispanic neighborhoods. The money go from one Hispanic to another Hispanic to another Hispanic. It does that a few times before it leaves. You do that in the black neighborhood, the money leaves right away. Because there are no black businesses. But like I said, there's a direct link between crime and poverty. And another thing is, people are allowed to come to America and they piggyback off of black people. They pretend like they went through the same shit black people went through. As far as slavery, the mistreatment, Jim Crow segregation, 400 years of planned ignorance. They act like they went through that. They use the term people of color. They say people of color. They use the term people of color, and that's how they're able to piggyback off of black people. That's why whenever something happened to black people, they say we're here to protect, we're here to speak out for black and brown people. We're here to speak for black and people of color. We're here to speak for black people and colored people. We're here to speak for black people and poor people. These are jaded and ambiguous terms because it could be anybody. And quiet just kept most of those people that come to America, when they use those terms on paper, they're classified as white. All the people that we call people of color on their paperwork, they're classified as white. Most Hispanics are classified as white. Arabs are classified as white. Asians are classified as white. Mexicans are classified as white. I'm talking about on their paperwork. But they're allowed to piggyback off of black people. That's why I've been telling y'all, stop saying people of color. People of color can be anybody. People of color, colored people, brown people, melanated people, poor people. That could be anybody. Those are jaded and ambiguous terms. That's why they always throw black people in the pot with everybody else. And then they don't come. Most immigrants that come to America, they don't come to be your friend. They come to replace you. They come to piggyback off of black people suffering, and then they go ahead. They pass us. Then they be sending their money back home. They make all their money sending it back home. They don't spend money with black people. All those names are jaded in ambiguous terms. It's a sham. And how it started with a policy called benign neglect. And like black people, like Black Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and all them, having civil rights marches, and that's what another thing. Jews fight for Jewish rights, gays fight for gay rights, Asians fight for Asian rights, Hispanic fight for Hispanic rights, black people fight for civil rights. We fight for everybody under the term civil. We fight for everybody. But these people, and this is why black people keep getting ignored through the policy of benign neglect. The whole policy was just to ignore black people. That's why they came up with these names: people of color, colored people, brown people, melanated people, poor people, and now they got all these trans names. First, it went from it was a derogatory name. I'm not going to say it, but it begins with a P or the F. It begins with a P or F. It was a derogatory term. That's how it was first. Then they started calling people gay, but they don't call people gay no more. They call them trans. Everything is about trans this, trans that. That was all that was created to ignore black people, to totally ignore and make like black people. The whole policy was to say black people are doing so great. They're doing so great, we're just going to ignore them. And we're going to start putting all our attention on everybody else, which was colored people, brown people, people of color, melanated people, and poor people. And that whole policy was meant to ignore black people. And that's why they came up with those names. You following me? But yeah, that's the whole reason. That's why everybody got a business in the black neighborhood. Because they pretend like they went through the shit black people went through. And they come and they piggyback off of black people. I got a video on it. I did a poem about that. But yeah, that's why. Alright, y'all. That's what it is. Everybody comes to America and they piggyback off of black people. They act like they went through 400 years of plain ignorance, Jim Crow segregation, lynching, beating, and slavery. They didn't go through that, but that's what they pretend they went through that. And they piggyback off of black people by using those names. People of color, colored people, brown people, melanated people, poor people, inner city people. They use all those names. They come to the hood. They come right to the hood, and the hood never flourishes because we giving all our money to them. And they sending their money back to their country. They're not spending money with black people. That's why. Spend your money with me and get a copy of my book. Alright, y'all, take it easy.